Republicans. 5. You know what that means? Princeton is in great peril right now. Because the 5 Republicans that live there are here in South Brunswick. Hey, you gotta have some fun at this business. And I learned in my 6 years representing Princeton, the Democrats there have a sense of humor. They always told me how much they love me, but they would never vote for me. So, let me say this. 2 questions I'm asked since the time that I declared for governor 4.5 weeks ago. The first question I'm asked is, will you be able to get along with Senate President Sweeney? And my response has been, I'm going to get along fine with the Senate Minority Leader, Steve Sweeney. Now listen, and I mean this when I say this, nobody seeking the nomination as the Republican nominee for governor should be doing so unless they believe they can generate the coattails to produce, for the first time in 2.5 decades, a Republican majority in our state legislature. I believe that. You shouldn't be asking for the nomination if you don't believe you have those kind of coattails. And here's the thing that's real exciting about 2021. We won't just be voting on the next governor. We'll be voting on an entirely new legislative map. We're going to redraw the map. And I believe we've learned from the last 2 times everything we did wrong, and this time we're going to get it right. So, I promise you. I promise you. So I'm really looking forward to 2021. Now, I'm a team player. First things first. We've got 13 congressional races this year. The 12 races for the House, and the 1 U.S. Senate race where we take out Corey Sparkus Booker. And we've got that special election up in Morris County for District 25. Okay? Now, you can expect from me high energy. You can expect from me commitment. You can expect from me to work with people up and down the ballot in every way possible to make sure that our Republican Party is very, very successful. And if you remember back in the 90s, well, let me put it this way. I don't know if you're aware of this, but not in 42 years have the people of New Jersey re-elected a Democratic governor, right? Yeah. We're going to make sure the same goes for Phil Murphy. Now, back in the early 90s, there was a little jingle that Republicans came up with to get rid of Jim Florio. Who remembers that jingle? Florio free in 93. I've come up with my own, and I like it better. Murphy's one and done in 21. Here's the other question I'm asked often. Can a Republican win? Can a Republican win? Yes, a Republican can win. With your support, a Republican can win. With your support, I can win. And history tells us so. And I just told you about the last 42 years. But don't think that this is going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be pretty. Powerful special interests have co-opted Phil Murphy. Powerful special interests that care more about themselves than the hardworking people of New Jersey, who get screwed every day because of the things that go on in Trenton. I'm mad about it. I know you are too. But what we need to do is harness that anger. What we need to do is harness that anger. All we need is the right kind of leader, the right kind of energy, the right kind of message. All we need is the right kind of plan. One with laser focus on property taxes, improving our business climate, and fiscal responsibility. Those are the things that we need to do. We also need to keep in mind that the changing demographic represents an opportunity. I want us as a party, I hear this too often, not necessarily from people in this room, but I hear this too often as I go around the state. Jack, the changing demographic, the changing demographic, the changing demographic. I try to remind people, folks, the demographic of this country has been changing for 243 years. That's what makes us America. It's what makes us America. Let's embrace it. The changing demographic is going to like our Republican message. I ask you to also keep in mind that this is the most diverse state in the Union, and there is great strength in our diversity. And that our Republican message should be consistent with the Reagan and Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt and Dwight Eisenhower type messages. We don't care where people are from if they're here legally.
Yes.
What we care about is where we're going together. And this, I can tell you as I go around this state. Yes, there are 1.3 million Republicans, there's 2.4 million Democrats, and there's 2.5 million unaffiliated independent voters that lean right. But I will tell you this, rank and file Democrats are not pleased with Governor Murphy's policies proposals. They are not. They don't like the idea of raising business taxes. They don't like the idea of raising personal income taxes. They don't like the idea of voting rights for parolees. They don't like the idea of driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. They don't like the idea of sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. They don't like the idea that policy proposals in Trenton are seeming to suggest that we should abdicate parenting. My wife and I are raising 4 children. We're not abdicating our roles as parents. So in that sense, we don't need an LGBTQ curriculum in our public schools. And we don't need the government to tell us that vaccines should be mandatory, not when our herd immunity rates exceed those recommended by the CDC. And there were only 19 cases of measles in New Jersey last year. That's 19 cases too many. But we're not in a position to put that kind of policy in place here in New Jersey. And even Democrats, particularly in the suburbs, agree with us. There's an opportunity for us, gang, an opportunity. Let's go out and do what Reagan did. Reagan was a principled man. The rabbi, who I think that he did the invocation, I'm not sure, he might be running for governor. I mean, that guy, he moved up three notches on my LG list, I gotta tell you. He told the story about Reagan when Reagan was, and I think it was Cheryl Bass told the story about when Reagan was shot. When Reagan got to the hospital, the first thing he asked is the surgeon a Republican? Reagan knew how to use sense of humor to disarm people. When he awoke from the surgery and he saw his wife, Nancy, staring in the face, he said, "Honey, I forgot the duck." So let us remember all that Reagan represented. He was principled. And, you know, I think what it is about Reagan is, you may not have always agreed with Reagan, but you knew where he stood. He was authentic. My favorite stories about Ronald Reagan is that, you know that famous speech that he gave in Berlin. All of his advisors, all of the pollsters, all the polling data, the consultants, his advisors, they all said, don't use that line. Don't use that line. It's inflammatory. It's unnecessary. Don't use that line. Reagan got up that morning, took his prepared text, and wrote in the line, "Tear down this wall." And we all know what the result was. That wall came down. That wall came down. My other favorite story about Ronald Reagan was this. He was on the eve of meeting with Mikhail Gorbachev over a reduction of nuclear warheads. And Howard Baker, his chief of staff, left him a pamphlet, a 3-ring binder about 3 inches thick on the corner of his desk, and said to him, "Now, you got to look at this tonight in preparation of tomorrow's meetings." Well, Howard Baker got to the office the next morning, and Reagan was there, and the binder hadn't moved. And he looked at him and said, "Mr. President, I went through great lengths to prepare that for your meeting today with Mikhail Gorbachev, and you didn't touch it." He said, "Howard, the Sound of Music was on last night." I love that story. Because you know what? The man didn't need a 3-ring binder. He knew right from wrong. He knew how to represent his country. He knew how to advocate for the people he represented. And guess what? It all worked out just fine in his negotiations with Mikhail Gorbachev. Guys, let me finish by saying this. Don't ever, ever underestimate what it is each one of you means on an individual basis and collectively to the success of our party. Don't underestimate it, okay? It's the grassroots organizations. It's the grassroots efforts that give the party energy and mean the world to candidates. The world to candidates. It's not just your financial support. It's the moral support. You fortify candidates. It takes a great deal of courage. Donna, where are you? From Saraville. Where are you now? She's the lone Republican on that council. We hope that Art gets in there with the lawsuit that we're pending over the VBMs and the like that took place. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to run for office. And your support at the grassroots level means a great deal to these people. It doesn't mean they don't want to hear when they've messed up. We as candidates want that feedback. We welcome that feedback, particularly from family members. But more than anything, don't ever underestimate what it is you mean to the success of our party. I'm going to close by saying this. I'm determined to fix our broken state. I hate when something is broken. I hate when we're losing. New Jersey is broken in so many different ways. You know what they are. And we're losing to places like other states, Pennsylvania, New York, what have you. It's getting more and more challenging for people to achieve their American dream here in New Jersey. My candidacy will be about fixing New Jersey. It'll be about restoring people's faith in government. It'll be about delivering on the promise of our state motto, liberty and prosperity for all. And with your help, we will achieve those goals. Thank you all so very, very much.
Folks, we're just going to let you enjoy the rest of your lunch. Our special guest speaker has arrived. But in the meantime, we're just going to show you some great videos. We actually have special videos from our 2 Senate candidates here today. Direct your attention to the screen and our videos will begin to play.
The difference this time, you'll have to face me. I'm Rick Meda. As a pharmacist and a lawyer, I worked at YUPP, where I spent years enforcing against bad actors marketing illegal drugs. I worked on international missions, taking millions of illicit counterfeit drugs off our shelves and reduced the amount of opioids on our streets. I built a career working on policies to lower drug prices while protecting families, seniors, and the most vulnerable. 1/3 of New Jersey's population are immigrants and minorities like myself. Yet politicians like Cory Booker and nominate this bill for careers on behalf of our proud immigrants, all while encouraging illegal immigration. Why do they let so many of our towns suffer while turning their attention to sanctuary cities? Isn't it that? He came to the United States at 19 with $100 in his pocket. My mom, she worked 2 jobs and still managed her household to make a better future for my sister and me. Now my sister, she's one of the top pediatricians in the country. Our story is a Jersey story. Folks barely getting by working 2 jobs day and night. That's who I am and where I come from and who I will fight for. We found the American dream. I like freedom. We met at the best state school in the country. At Cleveland County. That's it. The future will be fighting for them in Jersey. We used to be known as the first in America for innovation and opportunity. Now we take the U.S. with the state most and no opportunity. It's more like I was working in Jersey on the boss here. There's First part is when our children are suffering from medical can't free from cycling. When people are suffering and people are planning on just to get by, we won't be afraid of you anymore. And 100% because we should be used by our elected officials. Listen to us. The slogan I came here is Jersey. At my father, there is no greater sense of pride than when I see that legal freedom standing right in the middle of the I want to make it easier to families to live here, not live here. I want a Jersey you can be proud. You're proud of Jersey? If you are, then you're joining me, Rick Meda, as I run for the U.S. Senate. Let's put Jersey proud together.
Hi, my name is Sue Hucko. I'm with the Middlesex County Republican Women's Club. We're here at the special event, the Reagan's Day event in South Brunswick. And I would like to say I am a very strong supporter of our President Trump. He's doing a phenomenal job. And I want a good relationship of the United States and India. I believe President Trump will work towards that. He's doing phenomenal work here in the United States. The economy is booming. He's keeping his promises. And so many Americans, we love President Trump. He's doing a dynamic job. God bless America and God bless India.
Hello, my name is Christian Anoha, and I'm running for New Jersey's 6th congressional district seat. And we are here in a fantastic event held by the Middlesex County Women's Republican Committee. And I want to support everyone to vote Republican and to position us to have better funding for our schools, less taxes so that we can afford jobs, we can afford houses, we can afford the things that we need in our lives and still have more for savings. Once again, my name is Christian Anoha. I'm running for Congress, Congressional District 6. Please vote in November. Christian Anoha for Congress. God bless you.
How are you guys doing? It's Rick Meda. I'm running for U.S. Senate here in New Jersey. We are so excited. The energy is palpable. We're here to support the president and our India-U.S. relations. We've never had a more exciting time for U.S.-India relations right now. And here in New Jersey, the energy is absolutely palpable. The Indian community has been very instrumental at defining the cultural landscape of New Jersey. My father-in-law started an Indian business right here in Middlesex County, where so many of us have immigrated. My father, my grandparents, and so many. So this visit has never been more important. And that's why we're Jersey proud. We're Jersey proud here because we support the president's agenda of creating a very good economy for us, creating the lowest unemployment rates, and encouraging the relationship. And running for U.S. Senate, we're here to support the next term that president is going to have, where we're going to have fair trade deals with India and other countries that put America's agenda first, but also focus on making sure that we're creating jobs in here. So follow us along. I'm Dr. Rick Mehta. Go to jerseyproud.com. I'm running for U.S.
You know, today President Trump is in India. And we are in America. We are in USA. We are in New Jersey. We are in Middlesex County. See, thousands of people are gathering here. And you guys know what is the importance of Mr. President's visit in India. New Jersey is exciting because of, you know, New Jersey is a mini India. And President Trump and the Prime Minister Modi, both are very good friends. And we have to understand the relationship between India and USA. Middlesex County is mini India, and we are asking you people, we have to go 2020 for Trump. Mr. President is going another 4 years, and India is better and better strong because India is a gaining country. We are smart people. In USA, we have a value. At that value, you know that in 2020, we had two candidates running for the Senate election also, Mr. Harsing and also Mr. Mehta. So that is the power of Indian community in New Jersey. So let's gather and enjoy that President Trump and Mr. Modi in India. Thank you very much. My name is Dharmesh Patel. I am a Middlesex County Indian Republican Club President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arun. This is Hirsch Singh, Republican U.S. Senate candidate for New Jersey in 2020. I'm the guy who's going to be taking Cory Booker and removing him from politics for good. So far, we've raised over $400,000 from over 4,200 donors with the most conservative and consistent message.
Would everyone please be seated?
And I think we're about to start getting these processions started, so it's great to meet you. Please check me out on hirschsingh.com and always support Mana TV.
Hello everyone, my name is Brajesh Singh and I am supporting a very good Senate candidate whoever is winning the primary election. We are with them and we need to kick Cory Booker out of politics and give him the retirement from politics. That's all I can say. And also I am supporting Christian from District 6 to beat Frank Pallone. Thank you all and have a good day.
Hello everyone, my name is Jyotsna and we welcome you here to a great Republican conference that we are having in South Brunswick right now in New Jersey. I have with me a special guest by the name Mr. Jack Ciattarelli, and he is a declared governor candidate for 2021 elections in New Jersey. Let's hear it from Jack, what it takes to become a governor of New Jersey and what are his plans to win the votes of the New Jersey population.
Well, first, I think you need the right kind of background. I'm an MBA CPA. I'm also a two-time small business owner. I've served at a couple different levels of New Jersey government. I've always term limited myself, never took taxpayer-funded benefits or the pension plan and the like. And I think in order to be governor, you have to have a plan on how to fix New Jersey. The two major crises that really plague New Jersey and hold us back economically are the property tax crisis and our business climate. Our business climate is ranked the worst in the country. So I have a number of different ways for us to lower property taxes, and I have a number of different ways for us to fix our business climate, including a very revolutionary reform of our tax code.
Thank you so much for this information, Jack. One more thing. How do you think about this socialist thinking, freebies for everyone, and they have been happening, What is your opinion about that, and how do you see the economy going if there are too many socialist agendas?
Empowering self-reliant people with liberty is the best way to create, if you will, a tide that lifts all boats, an economy in which all people benefit. Socialistic ideas have always failed over the centuries, and it's not the American way. We're a capitalist society, we're a free market society, and we want to empower people and then encourage them to persevere, to work hard, and then there's upward mobility based on hard work. That's how the system works best.
Perfect. Thank you. One more thing. Jack, as you're aware that President Trump is going to India for an event by the name Namaste India. Of course, Prime Minister Modi is a great friend of President Trump. How do you see his visit this time? Are there any takeaways that will happen?
Well, I think the President has done a great job on the international stage in promoting American ideals, but also protecting American interests. For the longest time, we haven't done a good job in partnering with other countries in protecting our interests and protecting the American worker. That's what President Trump has done very, very well on the international stage.
All right, and one more question, Jack. Regarding, of course, he's going to India, and Prime Minister Modi came here. There was a huge event that happened in September 2019, Howdy Modi event in Texas. The relationship has gone further, like they are in a good bond. As far as India's position is concerned at UN Security Council, do you see any scope that we get some favor from President Trump for that, India's position?
I'm sorry, what is your question?
The UN security seat, India is contesting for that, right? They want to be part of permanent member of the UN Security Council, and this has not happened. With the growing relationship with President Trump, he has a bigger authority and say there in UN.
Well, listen, here's what we know. When the President believes in something, he advocates for it. So if he believes something is wrong, he will advocate to make it right. And if he believes that a different kind of partnership with any foreign nation is in the best interest of America, he's going to do that. He's done it time and again. One thing this president is not, he's not shy.
All right, of course, he's not shy, he's bold, he's straightforward, we know that, we see him. And of course, Indians are getting a lot of confidence. About the Indian population here, people in New Jersey, there are a lot of Indians you know. So, do you have any specific message for the Indians here, American Indians?
Oh, that we welcome diversity here in New Jersey in particular. And as I said during my opening remarks, the demographic of this country has been changing for 243 years. That's what makes us America. And New Jersey is the most diverse state in the Union, and there's great strength in our diversity. So we welcome all people, because all people strengthen New Jersey.
And one more question regarding the immigration, if we speak about. Of course, there are a lot of people who have come undocumented to the country, and then there is another class of people who are documented, who are legal, high skilled. Currently, there is a bill in the Senate by the name S386. I don't know whether you're aware about that or not. It is a bill to remove a per country cap, from the green card quota, which is allocated to every country, and they get 7% green card quota, every country, in terms of the employment-based workers, high-skilled workers. So what has happened with India is the Indian people are in a backlog of green card. They're in the wait line that ranges from 20 years to 100 plus years of wait if they apply for a green card today, and they are legal and high skilled.
Well, there should be no backlog for any people who are here legally. Let's do what we need to do to make it right. I'm not familiar with the bill, but I will tell you as a business person, I don't like backlog, I don't like bureaucracy, and if someone's here legally, it seems totally unfair to them. So we need to fix it.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for your time, Jack, and we wish you all the very best, a great success for your, this thing, that the big task you have taken to take care of New Jersey, and let's see what happens.
Very good. Thank you very, very much.
Naren Patel from Vartaldam Temple, Somerset, New Jersey, hardcore Republican. Welcome, Mr. President, to my country. We are very proud to welcome you there. I'm talking to you from Little India, New Jersey. Hello, India. The friendship between Mr. President Trump and Modi ji is so strong and making our relationship so nice. That's a very proud moment for us being Indian. In America, we are all Americans by citizenship, but still our roots is in India. So welcome, Mr. President. What is going on there between India and America? This is going to build stronger bond, and economically both countries will be benefited, and that's what we want to see and develop more and more in India, more industries, more trade, so we can be good partner, equal partner in everything.
Narendra, I have one question regarding,
Yes.
President Trump is going to India.
Yeah.
About India's seat in UN Security Council. India has been, trying her level best to get a seat with President Trump visiting India and creating a very strong relationship again with Prime Minister Modi and India's relationship with USA in total. How do you see the prospect for India securing a UN Security Council seat now?
Well, the council is, I'll be very blunt, is all bought out by special interests. But I think with it, Mr. Trump's effort and also European countries are supporting this cause, so we have better chances to get the seat in permanent seat in UN. That's my personal feeling.
Okay, one more question for your brother in India. Of course, you are in USA, New Jersey right now. You must be definitely missing Gujarat, being a Gujarati. What do you have to tell your Gujarati neighbors and friends back in India? How do you want to convey a message that how should they welcome President Trump there?
Well, they should. We are known for our hospitality, so we should welcome him with the dokras and parathas and theplas.
Thank you so much for your time, Narendra.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure. My name is Charles Tapiro. I'm a councilman in the Township of Monroe, a lifetime resident, and a big supporter of our Republican Party in our Middlesex County and also in Monroe.
Charles, tell us something about today's event here. What has taken place right now?
The event today is a Ronald Reagan event, Ronald Reagan Day. It shows support of our past president and also to give support to our current president and our elect president 2020 and to get Trump back in to keep America moving in the right direction.
Three similarities between President Ronald Reagan and President Trump when it comes to nation first, Americans first and everything.
I believe, in my opinion, I believe that the relations between the two presidents are very, very strong and very close, and that's why we're seeing a lot of good things happen in our country, and he's bringing all the people together. The stock market's record highs, interest rates are record lows, and all good things are happening in our country because he's working together with all the people, for the people.
And about legal immigration and about the DACA, what is the prospect you see?
Well,
there is legal immigration, I say, where there are high-skilled people who are immigrating to the country.
Right.
And then there is undocumented people who need to be taken care of. What would be the stance?
I believe our president speaks clearly about that, and his beliefs are similar to what I believe in. Also, legal people coming to our country is fine. It's the problem when they come in illegally, and we have a lot of issues with schools and taxes and crime. So I believe that our president is doing the right thing for USA, and he's a good man, and we need your support and your relationship. So I believe we got to support Trump. That's why I'm here.
Thank you so much for your time, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
So we have our esteemed guest here, Senator Sam Thompson from New Jersey, a distinguished person, a community person who's dedicated to the cause of the community, for the betterment of the community here in New Jersey. So, sir, welcome.
Thank you. Delighted to join you today.
Thank you so much. I want to know from you, President Trump is traveling to India right now.
That's right.
He has already taken the flight, right? And he'll be reaching soon. How do you see this visit of President Trump to India this time? What are we seeing? Is USA going to gain something more? Or is it more about cementing the bonds for once and then plan out other things?
Well, of course, we have the meeting of the world's two largest democracies together. I was over in India in September myself on a trade mission with the governor.
Right.
I think we have great relations now, but I think we'll see them grow even more. The interchange of cultures, the interchange of economies and so on, I think it'll be very fruitful for both countries.
So what are the trade negotiations that you foresee would happen here this time?
I'm sorry?
Any trade negotiation that will take up this time, or as President Trump says, they are kept for later on? Any trade negotiations? You see something happening in future, otherwise if not this visit?
I would be amazed if we don't see some really positive trade negotiation going about after this meeting is finished. So,
perfect. Thank you.
again, I think from the trip we made over in September. At that point, we had a number of companies in India saying they're going to create 1,500 new jobs in New Jersey, and others were very interested in coming. The president will do even a better job of building the economic relations.
Well, President Trump is a great businessman, we know that. But one more thing that is, of course, appreciated by everyone is a person who loves his nation. And at the same time, Prime Minister Modi is a person who is a real patriot, who loves his country and countrymen, and keeping their security first. He has taken many, many bold steps, be it removal of Article 370 from Jammu and Kashmir, and recently they're speaking about CAA, which is about...
I attended the 30th anniversary of the Kashmir genocide just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, how do you feel about this removal of Article 370 from Jammu and Kashmir? There are people who are saying, there are anti-groups who are saying that this is against the people of Kashmir, about the freedom of their, own, the Kashmiri people. But that's really not true, As we know from the current situation in Kashmir, no violence has taken place in the last 3 months. I mean, and people are going back to their normal lives right now. So have you ever felt people have been misguided somewhere about Article 370 being against Kashmiri people?
Well, I think the actions that Modi took recently related to Kashmir are very important. People of Kashmir felt when the genocide occurred that they were abandoned. And it's very important to send a message that are positive for the Indians in the area.
Thank you so much. And Senator, one more question regarding, they might discuss bills about H-1B. I mean, there are companies who are bothered right now because there is a lot of stringency that has come up from Trump administration where a lot of H-1B visas have been rejected, denied, and more than 100,000 H-1B visa holders have been sent back last year. They have been here in this country for the last 15, 20 years, and they had to leave the country in 15 days itself because they were waiting for their green cards. It's going to take a long time. They're in a green card wait, which is varying from 15 years to 100 years of wait time. So what do you see? Will President Trump do something?
I wouldn't be very surprised if after his trip he comes back and makes some modifications to that situation.
Oh, we are hopefully waiting for that.
Well, I know the great contributions that the Indians have made to the U.S. The ones that have moved here, lived here, and they've added so much to our nation. I've been working with the Indian community here in Middlesex County for 30 years.
Right.
I know what entrepreneurs they are and what great family values they have. They should all be Republicans, quite frankly.
Let's see. Maybe the wave changes this time with the kind of policies President Trump has shown. Of course, there is job market is really good. Business is good. We see and everybody is seeing probably Indians might have a change of mind this time. We wish you all the best for that.
We'll look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Senator.
Thank you.
Bye. We have another esteemed guest with us here, Preeti Pandya Patel, a community leader, community person, and let's hear it from her a little more about her own self. Preeti.
Hi, well, I'm excited. I know that our President Trump is going to India, so namaste to President Trump. And, I think that him going is really going to show a lot to the American people about how U.S. is involved in trying to work with India. And both of the countries are real powerful. And I think one day, they're going to come together and be powerhouses. Trump is a businessman, and so is Modi. And I think the both of them coming together, there's just so much synergy that I think they both can make a big difference.
That's definitely foreseen here. People are expecting the same thing, Preeti. Well, you are from Gujarat originally, if I speak about. So you're not in Gujarat today when President Trump is there for the Namaste Trump event. How are you feeling? What do you have to convey to your friends out there? How should they welcome President Trump there? And the spirit, you might be definitely attaching yourself there. You might be intact through your soul and body. Soul is there, body is here, I know.
Yes.
How are you feeling? What do you want to say to your friends who take care and give that pride to President Trump about us Indians?
I've been here for, I would say, almost 50 years here in the U.S. So, and I am from Gujarat, you're right. And I am actually so excited that President Trump is there, and the people of Gujarat and my family who is still back home, I've actually sent them messages about going to see what they can do to welcome President Trump there and give them their blessings and whatever they can do, because I know he's going to come back here and I know he's going to bring a lot more energy.
That's fantastic. Well, let's see what happens. And of course, President Trump is fond of big crowd, big people coming to see. So there were estimates of having around about 100,000 people coming to witness the event. Probably now it might go on to 10 lakhs.
Wow.
What do you have to tell your neighbors back in India, in Gujarat, that go, watch the event, participate or not?
I want to tell everybody to go and support and tell everybody what India is all about. And I think that Trump is going to come back and have a different feel, and I just think it's just amazing.
So what do you see? You expect Prime Minister Modi to come back again soon to US after this visit?
I think he will. I think he will, and yeah, we're going to have to go now.
Now, government's job is to make sure that there's an opportunity for everyone to achieve their own form of economic freedom. And Donald Trump has done that with his policies. And one of the other ideals that we Republicans believe in are the American ideals that through perseverance, personal responsibility, upward mobility based on hard work is the way that you achieve something we call the American dream. It's unique in all the world, the American dream. You don't achieve it by giving healthy, able-bodied adults a guaranteed minimum payment from your income taxes through government. We're not supporting universal basic income now or ever. What we're supporting is what Ronald Reagan believed in, a free market capitalism marked by social responsibility. And who better to talk about that kind of economic freedom than President Trump's economic spokesperson, Stephen Morrison.
Who would have thought there would be so many deplorable people here in New Jersey? Raise your hand if you're a deplorable. Yeah, I'm a deplorable. But you know what? We are adorable deplorables, right? We're adorable deplorables. Anyway, it is so honored to be here. I want to talk a little bit about what Donald Trump is doing to make America great again. This has been just an astonishing record this president has put forward. You mentioned the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. I'm gonna give you a little slideshow and show you the amazing things that Donald Trump has done for the U.S. economy. I was honored to serve as in fact, the first time I met Donald Trump was just a little bit over 4 years ago. I was just reflecting on this when he first started running for president, and I had never met the man before, and I'll never forget, I talk about this in my book, Trumponomics. We went in, Larry Kudlow, by the way, how great is it? Larry Kudlow is the most important economist in the world. Larry was, it was important that he's the chief economic advisor for Donald Trump, but the most important thing is that Larry Kudlow was the best man at my wedding, so I love Larry. But you know, it's so amazing. I saw the president a few weeks ago, and I just went up to him and I said, Mr. President, this is going to be the next president of the United States. I mean, he just had the look of a winner, and I've been so proud to be with him. And I saw him, as I mentioned, when I saw him about 3 weeks ago, and I mentioned how well he was doing on the economy. He was speaking to about, Larry had invited me to this dinner that he was giving for about, 50 people, and there were a bunch of the Republican governors there. And I'll never forget, there was a governor who's sitting about as far as you are from me, and Trump was just speaking off the cuff, and he said to this governor, is Governor Ducey of Arizona, he said, Governor, he said, do you know that I don't drink? By the way, how many of you knew that about Donald Trump, that he didn't drink? You know, it's funny, I've been around him so many times, it never even occurred to me that I never saw him with a drink, but it is true, he never drinks. And so he said to this governor, Governor, did you know I don't drink? And the governor kind of nodded his head and said, yes, Mr. President, I heard that about you. And so Trump says, Governor, can you imagine me if I drank? That's a very, very funny line. He can be a very funny guy. All right, so this did not happen by accident. We have the best economy in 50 years in so many ways, and it's important for the American people in New Jersey to understand that there is a connection, right, between the policies that Donald Trump put in place and this amazing economy that we have today. So show the first chart, if you will. This is just, you know, you can see, by the way, there will be an exam at the end of this, so please be, I'm just kidding. But I am willing, by the way, I'm happy to make these charts available to anyone if you want them, because they're a great way to argue with your liberal friends. So you can see that this is showing what I call Reagan versus Obama, because, you know, when Obama came into office, we all remember what happened in 2008 and 2009 when the economy imploded. But Reagan, how many of you are old enough to remember, 18% mortgage interest rates and 15% inflation under Jimmy Carter. I always say the reason I know God smiles on America is that Jimmy Carter was not reelected president in 1980. And you can see that these are showing the paths of recovery. And the dark blue line you're looking at the bottom, that was the recovery under Barack Obama. It was the weakest recovery from a recession that we've had since the end of World War II. We've had 8 recessions since the end of World War II. We did grow under Obama, but it was a weakling recovery. It was the worst recovery we've seen. The light blue line shows you the average recovery from a recession, which was twice as high. And then I do like to compare Obama with Reagan because, Reagan's philosophy, remember what he said so famously in that debate against Jimmy Carter. Remember, he said, government is not the solution, government is the problem. Government is the problem. I wish your governor here in New Jersey understood that government is the problem. And so, but Obama's philosophy, whatever the problem is, we got a government program, just like Bernie Sanders and all the rest. Whatever the problem is, we got a government program. Look at that, the economy grew twice as fast under Reagan as it did under Obama. In fact, if the economy had grown as fast under Obama as it did under Reagan, we would have had $3 trillion more GDP. That's a chart that I showed Donald Trump, and he got it instantly. He said that's why people are so upset, because people could feel that the economy was severely underperforming under Barack Obama. Now, if you show the next chart, skip that one. I'm going to move on. Because I want to skip that one. Skip that. Well, this one might be interesting to you. Do you remember back in the late 70s and early 80s how people said, Japan is going to take over the world? Remember? Yeah. Japan is taking over and America's in the twilight of its ascendancy and so on. And I thought this was an interesting chart because this shows the U.S. stock market versus the Japanese stock market. The Japanese stock market is the red line, and the blue line is what's happened in America. And what's so interesting is you see where the red line goes flat there starting around 1982, 83, 84. That was right when all the experts were saying, oh, Japan's taking over the world. And since then, Japan has done nothing for 30 years, and the United States goes up and up and up. And I say that because what is everyone saying now? Who's going to be the big economic superpower according to all the liberal people? China. They were as wrong then, they're as wrong today as they were then. The U.S. is right now the economic powerhouse of the world. Now show the next chart. This is the most important one, okay? Because did you all see what Barack Obama tweeted out this week? Did you see that? Where he said, oh, I'm the one responsible. Remember? I'm the one who's responsible for the strong economy. Barack Obama said that. And so, he's saying it was my policies. Now, these are the same people, by the way, who 4 years ago said, remember, if Barack Obama is president, he's going to cause a second Great Depression. Remember that? Yeah. He's going to destroy the economy. Now we have the strongest economy in 50 years, so they can't figure out how it is this president created this incredible economy, so they have to take credit for it. So Obama, so I was on Fox the other day, and they asked me, they said, they showed me the quote from Obama. They said, Steve, do you think that this strong economy is just the Obama effect? And you know what I said? I said, absolutely. The fact that we have the strongest economy, yes, this is the Obama effect. It's the effect that Barack Obama is no longer president of the United States. That's what everybody has to talk about. Now look at that. Look at this. You see that top chart there? That is small business. How many of you in this room own or operate a small business? Raise your hand. I am saluting you. You are the spinal cord of the American economy. The people who create the jobs in this country are the 28 to 27 million small businessmen and women. And so and by the way, when small business does well, America does well. And every time I talk to Donald Trump about the economy, he'd always say, how will this policy affect our small businesses? He respects the men and women who run our companies. And so you see that blue line at the top there, it was flat during Obama's presidency, it never rose. You see where that line goes straight up? You see that? That was the poll that was taken of small businesses 72 hours after Donald Trump was elected president. Is that amazing? 72 hours, it went straight up, and by the way, it hasn't come down ever since. With small business optimism went straight up. And by the way, small business optimism is also a really good forward indicator of where the economy is headed. And so I asked the guy who, because they've been doing this poll of small businesses for 50 years. He said, we've never seen anything like what happened in November of 2016 when that went. So do you think there's a Trump effect here with the economy?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, look, I'll skip this consumer confidence. You see that went way up under Trump right afterwards. But my favorite one also, see the one on the bottom right-hand corner there? That is, how do you rate the economy? This is another question that Gallup has been asking for 50 years. And you can see that the blue line is what was the results under Obama, and the red lines are the results under, under Trump. And you'll have to excuse me because this is a little bit out of date. It's about 2 or 3 months old. But what's so interesting is that under Barack Obama, when the month that he left office, or the month before he left office, only 36% of Americans, or about 1 in 3 Americans, rated the economy as good or great. Okay? 36%. Anybody know what that number is today? 71% of Americans today rate the economy as good or great. Twice as many as did under Obama. You think there's a Trump effect here? Absolutely there is. Show the next one, if you will. This is one, I just was, when I was in the Oval Office about a month ago, I showed this one to Donald Trump, and he was like doing cartwheels in the Oval Office when he saw this. This is blue-collar workers. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald J. Trump is the blue-collar president. That is why he is going to win New Jersey. And look at what he has done for blue-collar jobs. This is mining, this is construction, and this is manufacturing. And by the way, do you see the U-turn effect? They went down under Obama, they went up under Trump. This one is also a couple months out of date. We are now 1.5 million manufacturing, construction, and mining jobs have been added. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, for creating that amazing result. And by the way, remember what Obama said? Obama gave a very famous speech about 2 months before the election. You recall this one? Yeah. And he was making fun of Trump. He was mocking Trump. And he said, Donald Trump says he's going to bring manufacturing and construction jobs back to the United States. Remember what he said? Yeah. How is he going to do that with the magic wand? Ladies and gentlemen, Donald J. Trump, I'm here to tell you, has a magic wand because those jobs are back. I love that about him. He is so proud of that. This is a president who cares so much about working class Americans. I hate it when they say, the 2 things I hate it when liberals say about Trump. One, when he says he just cares about rich people. Every time I'm in a meeting with him, I say, rich people, he said, I'm rich. We rich people can take care of ourselves. What we need to do is make sure we have the jobs for hardworking, middle-class people, and that's what he's done. And the other big lie about Donald Trump, show the next one if you will. This is the one that just doesn't this make you so angry when liberals call Donald Trump a racist? Yes. It is outrageous. It is outrageous that they say that about him. This is the president who, in the last 50 years, this is a state that has a pretty high minority population. We have to go out, we have to get minority votes for Republicans in 2020 and show them this and say, we are the ones who are creating opportunity. They are the ones that destroy jobs. I love that. This is one of the things the president is most proud of, by the way, what he has done for minorities in America. Do not let the liberals call him a racist. Do not let him do that. That man has not a racist bone in his body. Show the next chart, if you will. This is the one that Trump is really proud of as well. I showed this to him about 3 months ago. Every time I go to see the president, I always bring pictures because he likes to look at pictures. He doesn't like to read too much, but he loves to look at pictures. This is what's happened with middle-class incomes in the United States over the last 30 years, or 20 years. You can see under Bush, I hate to say this, I know this is a Republican gathering, but incomes didn't go up very much under Bush. They only went up for $500 under Bush in 8 years. And then under Obama, I started the Obama number when the recession ended, which was June of 2009. So I did not include his first 6 months in office because the recession was still going on. From when the recession ended to where Obama left office, incomes went up about $1,000. So that's not bad, it's not very good, but it's okay. And look at, starting in January of 2017 through December of 2019, incomes for middle-class Americans have gone up $5,100. That is an amazing performance. By the way, that means that in half the time, Trump has raised incomes for the middle class 5 times faster than Obama did in 8 years. You don't think there's a Trump effect there? I think we all know there is. Show the next one, if you will. Why did it happen? How is it that Trump created this incredible economy? By the way, we are the envy of the world. Japan is not growing. Germany is not growing. China is not growing. Europe is not growing. The only major country that is seeing major growth is the United States of America. We are the envy of the world. How did it happen? Number one, he reduced regulations. He got government off the back of business. And you can see the big reduction in regulation, the big increase in regulations under Obama, the big decline. And by the way, did you know Donald Trump lied to us? I hate to have to tell you this, but Trump did tell us a little bit of a lie during the campaign. Do you remember what he said? Do you all remember on regulations, his promise? He said for every new regulation in his administration, he said he would repeal 2. Remember that? Raise your hand if you remember him saying that. He lied. For every new regulation under Donald Trump, he's repealed 22 regulations. And is that amazing or what? This is the guy who actually outperforms his promises, and that is a huge factor. Okay, the next one. Oh, this is my favorite Time magazine cover of all time. I just had to show you this one. It's so much fun, isn't it? I mean, liberals are just so stupid. They don't get Donald Trump. They don't understand what's going on in the country. So they have these wrecking balls. Those are supposed to be Donald Trump's head, this wrecking ball. And if you can't, you might not be able to read that. It says, how Donald Trump is dismantling government as we know it. And that's supposed to be like a criticism. Well, hell yes he is. That's why we elected the guy, right? I mean, how stupid. Of course he's dismantling government as we know it. He's just not doing it fast enough, right? And by the way, haven't we learned this lesson about the deep state? The deep state is real, right? We've seen it now in the State Department, we've seen it in the IRS, we've seen it in the Justice Department, we are seeing it in all these agencies. And as far as I'm concerned, when Donald Trump, one mistake that Donald Trump made, and tell me if you think I'm right about this, his biggest mistake, he should have fired every single Obama appointee the day he came into office, because they were working against his agenda, and we've seen that. Okay, go to the next one if you will. Lower tax rates mean more revenues. By the way, I wish so much that your governor is sitting here so I could drill this into his head because he just doesn't get this. Higher tax rates do not work. Look at this. This is Reagan. You had that great film of Ronald Reagan. I was watching that while we were having lunch. Ronald Reagan came in. It's amazing. When Reagan came into office, you're not going to believe this. The young people in this room won't believe this. When Reagan came into office, our highest tax rate was 70%. 70%. So Reagan comes in, he cuts the rate from 70% to 50%, then down, all the way down to 28%. You see that blue line, how it falls like that? That's a big deal, to cut the top rate from 70 to 28%. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think happened to revenues? Do you think they went up or went down? They went up, right? They went up. There's an old saying, if you tax something, you get less of it. And if you tax something less, you get more of it. Why do we tax income? Why do we tax thrift? Why do we tax people who start businesses? Why do we tax virtue? We should tax vice, not virtue. Well, what's so interesting about the chart, you see the red line? That's the share of taxes paid by the evil 1%. And look at that. It went up. Isn't that amazing? The tax rates went down, the revenues went up. By the way, we need a 5% flat rate income tax here in New Jersey. It will solve all of your problems. 5%, right? 5% should be enough. I just came from a state, by the way. I flew here today because I care so much about the state. I was in Naples, Florida this morning. You know what the income tax rate is in Florida? 0. Can't we get the rate down to 5% here in New Jersey? We certainly should. So yes, lower tax rates. You got that? Lower tax rates mean more revenues and more economic growth. That's what happened under Reagan. By the way, you do not have to take my word for it. Show the next chart. This is John F. Kennedy. Kennedy I think he was a Democrat, was he not? John F. Kennedy said very famously, before he was so tragically assassinated, it is a paradoxical truth that tax rates are too high and tax revenues are too low, and the soundest way to raise the revenues in the long run is to cut the rates now. Is that beautiful or what? I mean, is that beautiful? Now, I am here to tell you that if John F. Kennedy were alive today, he would be a Republican, right? We believe in lower taxes, we believe in strong defense, we believe in pro-life. They would boot John F. Kennedy right out of that. By the way, it looks like we're going to be running against a presidential candidate who wants to raise income tax rates back up to 70%. Can you imagine anything that would ruin our economy more than that? So That is a guy, let's just put it like this. When it comes to Bernie Sanders, there's a guy who just doesn't have his tray table in the upright and locked position. So let's leave it at that. Okay, so show the next one. This is our tax cut. What we did, look, Donald J. Trump is unapologetically put America first. And what he means by that is put every decision that he makes, and I've been there with him so many times, every decision that he makes, he asks two questions. How will this help American workers? And how will this help American businesses? And isn't it about time we had a president who asked those questions? How this will help America? And so Trump basically, we showed this chart to Donald Trump 4 years ago. See that black line at the top that goes right across the top? That was the American federal and state tax rate for the last 25, 30 years. We were taxing our businesses, not just our corporations, by the way, but every small business in America was being taxed at 40%. Do you see those green pillars? You see how those go down every year from 1990 through 2016? That's the average tax rate of all of the countries the United States competes with. So that's Canada, Mexico, China, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Australia. That's the average rate of all the countries that America competes with. We're in an international global economy, folks. The United States businesses compete with companies from every other country in the world. It's just a truism. And so you can see, we showed this to Trump. We said, sir, we're at 40% and the rest of the world's at about 20%. And we said, that doesn't work, right? That doesn't work. The way Larry Kudlow put it, which was, the way Trump liked to hear it, he said, it's almost, when we are 40%, the rest of the world's at 20%, that's like we're putting a 20% tariff on our own goods and services. Yeah. That's just stupid, right? Why would you do that? That's economic masochism. And by the way, Trump was right. Remember he used to say the rest of the world is laughing at us behind our back? Yeah. They were laughing at us. They were saying, those Americans are so stupid, they're taxed at 40%. By the way, the reason those other countries are cutting their tax rates, why do you think they were doing that? To steal jobs and businesses from the United States, right? They were leveraging these lower tax rates so they could steal business, and it was working. Yeah. Factories were leaving, businesses were leaving, jobs were leaving the United States. So we show this to Trump. And we sit back and we say, Mr. President, well, Donald, because he was not president at the time, we said, we think that you should run on a 20% business tax rate. This is a great story, by the way, so bear with me. It tells you a lot about how Donald Trump thinks. So we said, Donald, we think you should support a 20% business tax rate for America. So, and I'll never forget, he sits back in his chair behind his desk in Trump Tower, and he says, no. He says, no, I'm not going to do that. He said, I want 15%. He said, I want 15. And by the way, that's the first time anybody wanted to cut tax rates more than me and Larry Kudlow. But we said, Donald, if you want 15%, we'll do 15. Now, here's what's so interesting about that story. From that moment, which was like in June of 2016, through December 22nd of 2017, when we actually passed the tax cut, every speech Donald Trump gave, every public declaration, every private meeting he was in, every time he met with members of Congress, 15, 15, 15, we're going to tax our business at 15, and he'd say to Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, he'd say, don't even bother to bring back that tax bill if it doesn't have that 15% rate. So I'll never forget, it's December 22nd, we're 3 days before Christmas, we got to pass this tax law, because remember we didn't get Obamacare repealed because of remember we fell one vote short, I'm not going to say who it was that betrayed us, but you all know who that was. And so we were terrified, we didn't want to come up with 49 votes again, we had to get to 50 votes, right? This was centerpiece of Donald Trump's economic revival agenda. We had to pass the tax cut. And so I remember we're sitting there December 22nd over at the White House waiting to see if, because Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, had a big meeting with all the Republicans. Not one single Democrat, by the way, not one single Democrat in the House or Senate voted for the biggest tax cut for American workers and businesses ever. That tells you a lot about where the Democratic Party is today. We needed to get 50 votes, and I remember, so into the room rushes Mitch McConnell, and he rushes right up to the president. He says, Mr. President, he looks sort of forlorn. He said, I'm so sorry I failed you, Mr. President. I made every argument I could for that 15% tax rate that you wanted, and I fought for it, and we argued about it. Mr. President, he said, I'm just so sorry I couldn't get you that 15% rate. He said, Mr. President, would you take 20%? Well, Trump jumps out of his chair and he's like, I'll take that in a New York minute. I mean, he was so happy, he was like bursting with joy. And I thought, wow, this guy, I think he wanted that 20% all along, right? I think, and look, it's very simple, folks. How many have read the book? What's his book? The Art of the Deal. This guy is a master negotiator. I am convinced, I will say to the day I die when I say my prayers, thank God Donald Trump did not take Larry Kudlow's and my advice, because if we had started at 20%, we would have ended up at 25 or 26. It's because this guy knows how to negotiate, we ended up with a 20% tax rate on American businesses, and by the way, it is working like a charm. Did you see the numbers? Just came out about a month ago. Since that tax cut passed, we have imported from the rest of the world, from China and Mexico and all these other countries, Bermuda, the places where companies used to stash their cash overseas, we have imported $1 trillion back to the United States. Wow. We taxed it at 10%. I'm not too good at math, but I think I can do this in my head. 10% of $1 trillion is $100 billion to the U.S. government, and then another $900 billion got invested back in the United States, creating all these jobs. That's an amazing performance, thank God. By the way, the first thing the Democrats say they want to do is repeal our tax cut, and I say, hell no, we are never going to let them repeal that tax cut. It's worked. Okay, it's just not true that the rich are not paying their fair share. The top 1% in America today pay more tax than the bottom 95%. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course.
The top 1% pay more than 95%. It is outrageous, they say, these people aren't paying their fair share. By the way, there's an old saying, and the liberals just don't understand this. Liberals love jobs, but they hate employers. And you can't have jobs without businesses. You need healthy businesses to create jobs. If you'll show the next one, I'll skip that one. This is the third leg of the pool, the stool, right? So I talked about the regulation, reducing the regulation. We talked about the tax cut. The third one, which I think Trump is most proud of, is what this president has done to make America, for the first time in 50 years, an exporter of oil and gas, not an importer. We are exporting energy for the first time ever. You can see what's happening on the chart. Look at the red line is the imports, the blue line is our output, our production. We've never seen anything like that. The last 5 years, we've seen the biggest oil and gas boom in the history of this country, thanks to fracking and thanks to shale oil and gas all over the Northeast and all over the mountain states. This is isn't that a beautiful picture?
Yes.
I mean, we remember in the 70s and 80s, anybody old enough to remember how OPEC used to always raise the price of oil on us? They put the blade right to our neck. They have rendered OPEC, impotent. They can no longer control the price as we do. We are now the #1 producer of oil and gas in the world. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. Now, go to the next chart. This is kind of a fun one because this is New York. Anybody? I know you're all. Anybody here? I know most people are from New Jersey. Anybody here from New York? A few of you. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just so. This shows you how stupid liberals are. Okay. So in Pennsylvania and Ohio, they've created. You see those red and green dots? Those are all the wells that are being drilled in what's called the Marcellus Shale, which is the biggest natural gas find in the world, and is creating huge amounts of jobs in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia. It's amazing economic force there. But in New York, because their politicians are almost as stupid as your politicians here in New Jersey, they have decided in their great wisdom they're not going to allow any drilling of oil and gas in New York, which is sad because you can see that Marcellus Shale. Do you see that line between Pennsylvania and New York? You see how all the wells are right there on the Pennsylvania and New York border? Do you see that? Yeah. Isn't capitalism a wonderful thing? You know what they're doing in Pennsylvania? They're drilling down. They're going underneath New York, and they're taking out all the oil and gas. So they get all the jobs in Pennsylvania. So we need to lift those bans. By the way, how many of you watched that circus show last night, on Wednesday night, the Democrats on stage? I mean, it was like a Saturday Night Live skit. It was unbelievable. Every single Democrat running for president wants to shut down American oil and gas. Hell no, we are not going to allow that to happen. We're not going back to the 1970s. Shutting down American oil and gas will only benefit the Russians, the Chinese, and the Arab oil sheiks. We are not going to shut down American oil and gas. We're not going to allow that to happen, right? We're not going to allow that to happen. Now, show the next chart. So look at that. because we're producing more oil and gas, energy prices are falling. We have the lowest energy prices in the world today. That makes America competitive, right? Because energy is proud of everything we produce. So the next one. This is one of my favorite ones. You know, wind and solar are completely irrelevant. Only 5% of our energy. Did you know that only 5% of our energy comes from wind and solar? Most of it comes from oil and gas, and a lot of it comes from nuclear power. Now show the next one. This one's really fun. Skip that one. But this one. Well, first of all, people say, oh, we can't produce oil and gas because we have to worry about our environment. We as Republicans and conservatives believe in a clean environment, right? We all believe in a clean environment, but we believe as free market people that we can produce more American products and do it at the same time we clean up the environment, and that's exactly what we've been doing. Donald Trump has been savagely criticized by the press for saying that we now have the cleanest air and water in 50 years. He is 100% correct. The air that we breathe today in cities like Pittsburgh and New York and Milwaukee and Chicago and Los Angeles and Houston is cleaner today than it has ever been. And these are real pollutants like lead and carbon monoxide and all these others. They've fallen by 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%. So we can be an economic powerhouse and clean up the environment at the same time. That's something the left doesn't understand. But now show this one. This is where Donald Trump is like a sage or something. He's like a soothsayer. How many of you are with me on this, by the way? Of all the great things that Donald Trump has done, and he's done a lot of great things, maybe his greatest decision was pulling the United States out of the anti-America Paris Climate Accord, which was the biggest joke ever. Now, not one single, all it was going to do was destroy jobs in the United States. Does anybody here think that China is complying with the Paris Climate Accord? Hell no, they're not. They're emitting more pollution than ever before. And by the way, it's not just China. This is a chart of the 30 largest countries in the world. Every single one of these countries signed the Paris Climate Accord. Not one of them has stuck to the deal. Not one of them. You know, gee, who would have ever thought countries wouldn't abide by a treaty? That never happens, right? Of course it does. And Trump knew it, right? That's why this guy is so smart. He knew none of these countries were going to do this. He knew it was just about crippling the American economy. And so that's, by the way, only 5 countries out of the 30 have even met half of their target. Now, here's the kicker. Here is the most amazing thing. And I will give a free, Tanya, I will give a free autographed copy of my book for whoever can get this question right. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? Of all the 35 largest countries in the world, over the last 3 years, which nation has reduced its carbon emissions the most? Raise your hand if you knew it was the United States. Did you? Wow, you guys really, most Americans have no idea. How could that be? We're not part of the Paris Climate Accord. We don't have carbon tax. We don't have any of this stuff. And the reason, now, I'll give now this time I'm really serious. I will. You're the referee. Stand up so you can, for the first person who gets this. This is important, okay? So the question is, how is it that we reduced our carbon emission more than any other country? It's a 2-word answer. Donald Trump. No, not Donald Trump. Okay, sir, in the red coat. Yes. What'd you say? Donald Trump. No, not. Well, yes, Donald Trump. But what is going on in the American economy that has created a reduction in our carbon emissions? Yes, ma'am. What'd you say? Natural gas. Give her a breath. Natural gas. Right? It turns out, think about this. Natural gas is a wonder fuel. It is everything that you want in an energy source. It is abundant. It's made in America. It's cheap. It's reliable, and it's clean burning. You would think if the liberals really cared about climate change, they would be in favor of natural gas, but yet they are against it, which makes me suggest maybe there's something else going on here. Now, all right, I'm going to get you that book, okay? And I'm going to give out one more book. Stand up, Diana, so you're the referee here. You can't. I haven't even asked the question yet. All right. There was one other source of energy that we have that emits 0 carbon emissions, and the left hates this one too. What am I talking about? Who was it? Who said nuclear energy first? You already got it. Did you say nuclear energy? What? Sorry? Nuclear. Okay, you get a buck. So think about it. Natural gas and nuclear power would be the solution to climate change, and the liberals are against both of those. Go figure. Okay, a couple more, and then I'll take a few questions, and then we'll wrap this up. Show the next one, if you will. Donald J. Trump was so right about trade, wasn't he? He was so right about China. Thank God we have a president for the first time in 50 years who has stood eye to eye, nose to nose with China, and he didn't blink, China did. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. It was amazing what he has done. And by the way, how many of you are with me on this? And if you're with me on this, you're with Donald J. Trump. China is no longer a friend. They are no longer an ally. They are an enemy and an adversary, and we should treat them as such. Yes. Right? And we finally have a president. By the way, where were the Clintons? Where were the Bushes? Where were the Obamas in doing anything about China? Nothing. It took Donald J. Trump to come in and finally stand up to China, and he is winning. You know, I always tell people, you know, I have 2 older brothers, you know, and how many of you in this room have an older brother? You know, if you do, especially if you're a man in the room, you know, the job of an older brother is to beat the crap out of their little brother, right? And that's what my older brothers would do. They just beat me up every day mercilessly, and they pin me on the floor until I cried, "Uncle." You know, so I'd cry, "Uncle." That's what Donald J. Trump did with China. He pinned them to the floor, and they cried, "Uncle." And because of this new trade deal that we have with China, they are going to buy $200 billion more American farm products, more American manufacturing items, more of our petroleum, more of our research, more of our technology. That happened for one reason. It's because Trump got tough with China. I'm a free trade guy. I think most of us are for free trade. But Trump showed me something here. These are the tariff rates. The red bar is the U.S. tariff rates. The blue bar is all these other countries. Now, you know, Canada, Mexico, because of NAFTA, had low rates. But look at China. Trump was right. Trump taught me and Larry something about this. He was right. Our tariffs were 1/3 as high as China's tariffs. Yeah. By the way, most of these countries we have free trade deals with. Wow. And they're all cheating. Oh, yeah. And Trump finally is standing up to these countries. And that, I have to say, Trump has taught me a lot about trade and negotiating. I think what he's done with, I mean, think about this. He got a better Canada-Mexico trade agreement, and then he stood down China in a major, major way. That's going to have a huge dividend for our country. By the way, does anybody think Hillary Clinton would have done that? No. You think anybody thinks that Hillary would have done it? Come on, let's go. All right, well, 1 or 2 more, and then you skip that one. Skip that. Skip. Skip. I'm just going to skip. 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 Okay. This is maybe one of the most important. This is a really important economics lesson for you all. And you know, I try to drill this into high school and college kids because I give a lot of lectures on high school and college campuses. The question is, you know, what is inflation? Inflation is when prices rise, right? And when you look at the consumer price index that's reported all the time, that's an agglomeration of thousands and thousands of products in the economy and hundreds of industries, but obviously every industry and every product has a different inflation rate. And so what I did here was I looked over the last 20 years to see where is inflation the worst in the economy and where do we actually not have rising prices. And it's a really interesting picture, and it's pretty simple. What you see is that the kind of basic consumer goods that we all buy, everything from toothpaste to toys to automobiles to clothing and textiles and computers and things like that, they've actually been falling in price over the last 20 years. Computers are cheaper today than they were 20 years ago. Software is cheaper. You know, even cars are cheaper today than they were 20 years ago. But then you look at the things that are rising in price, and food has risen a bit, and energy has risen a bit. But you see the 2 red bars there at the left corner? You maybe can't read that, but you know what 2 industries those are? Healthcare and education. Healthcare and education. Now, let's put our thinking caps on. What do those 2 industries have in common? Government, right? These are the 2 industries that government plays the biggest role. And by the way, I would make the case to you, these may be our 2 most important industries, right? Our school system, our education system, and our healthcare system. Those are, would you all agree, those are pretty important industries for the United States? So I asked my liberal friends, why do we have the government play such a big role in healthcare and education? I mean, why do we do that? Make it more affordable. Gee, they're doing a great job of it, aren't they? You know, the reason I'm showing you this now is because of Bernie Sanders. And not just Bernie Sanders, but 4 out of those 6 candidates on the stage want to nationalize our healthcare system. They want the government to take over our health and medical system. Is there anyone in this room who thinks that's a good idea? Because if you do, you're in the wrong room, right? This is the worst idea. And by the way, it's not just a bad economic idea. Think what this will do to the quality of medicine and healthcare in this country if the government runs it and regulates it. Can we make a pledge today? We're going to work our butts off to make sure that never happens. No Medicare for all, ever, 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 ever. We're not going to allow that to happen. And on education, the same thing. You know, I would like to see Donald J. Trump give a speech and you know, the biggest, how many of you agree with me on this? The biggest financial scam in America today is how much colleges and universities are charging our families. It is outrageous. And Trump should make a challenge to every university to cut their tuition in half over the next 5 years. And you know what? They can do it. When I went to the University of Illinois, I graduated in 1984, so that tells you a little about how old I am. It was $1,000 a semester. Now it's $11,000 a semester. It's probably the same at Rutgers. Right? Every university is saying massive increases. And when we take back Trenton, right, the first thing we should do is look under the hood of how these colleges are spending the money, because you would be surprised at how much waste and inefficiency there is in universities. One last thing. Okay, I promise this is the last one. Skip that one. Skip. This. I'm just going to end on this. You know, look, I love the state of New Jersey. I do. I love the people of New Jersey. I love the women of New Jersey. I love New Jersey. But I hate the way that the politicians are destroying this state. And it is a tragedy what the political class has done with this state. So I'm writing a book now about red states versus blue states. And it's a very, very stark contrast. So I look at the 4 largest states in the country, which are New York, California, Florida, and Texas. And 2 of those states are red states and 2 of those are blue. Isn't this amazing? This is just migration, you know, because people are moving from one state to another. I told you I just got back from Florida. I hate to tell you all this. All I saw was New Jersey, no license plates. Because people are moving out of New Jersey. They're going to places like Florida. Well, look at Texas and Florida. They've both gained 1 million people over the last decade from other states. And by the way, I'm not doing this to make fun of you all in New Jersey. I'm from Illinois. So we may be even worse shape than New Jersey is. It's liberal Democrats that are destroying these states. And then look at California and New York. New York in the last decade has lost 1.5 million people. You would think the alarm bells would be going off, right? That there's something going wrong there. And then even California, 1 million. And by the way, when I debated, you know, do you all know who Paul Krugman is? He's kind of a famous left-wing economist. And I showed him this. I said, you know, by the way, what is the income tax rate in Texas and Florida? 0. In California and New York, it's 13%. It's what are you now in New Jersey, like 10%? I think, yeah, 10% rate. You can save. You can buy a house in Florida if you're rich, just for the money you save on your income taxes. So I asked Krugman, why are people moving from these blue states that liberals do what you say to the red states that have no income tax? And you know what he said? He said, oh, they're moving for the weather. I said, well, gee, that's interesting. Why are people leaving San Diego going to Houston? Because I guarantee you nobody moves from San Diego. He had no response to that. Okay, but the next one is the final one, and this is, no, skip that. Okay, I just thought I'd show you this because, you know, this is where you're at here in New Jersey. This is why you need new leadership. Every decade, every year we do an outlook of which states have the best economic outlook and which states have the worst. And thanks to horrible leadership for the last 30 years in this state, New Jersey now ranks the 5th worst economic climate in the country. You have to, can we all make a pledge that we're going to work to fix that? You got to fix the regulations, the property tax, the income taxes, and make New Jersey a pro-business state. And this state, by the way, you all know this, but the last thing I'm going to say. If you go back to 1964, anybody in this state in 1964? Anybody know? A few of you are. In 1964, sir, and correct me if I'm wrong, New Jersey had neither a sales tax nor an income tax. No income tax and no sales tax. Today 50 years later, you not only have a sales tax and an income tax, you have the highest, virtually the highest in the country. And yet back in 1964, you could balance your budget, and today with the highest income and sales tax, you can't balance your budget. Doesn't that tell you there's something severely wrong here? So we're going to fix that. Last thing I'm going to say, if the economy stays as strong as it is today, 9 months from now, Donald J. Trump is going to win a 42-state re-election landslide. And the most important thing, how sweet is this going to be? How sweet is this going to be? I cannot wait to be watching. I like to watch the liberal news shows on election night. It's just so much fun. And I'm going to be watching MSNBC and CNN, and I cannot wait. That's the reason I'm here, because I cannot wait when they say, we have an announcement. New Jersey has gone for Donald J. Trump. All right, I have no votes. Thank you very much.
Well, we have an esteemed guest here, very energetic, strong person who very clearly, lucidly explained the economic, parameters which have gained a great strength in Trump administration. So we have Mr. Stephen Moore here. Sir, please first introduce yourself, and then I will definitely ask some more questions.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. We had a great crowd here in New Jersey of people from all colors. We had browns, we had blacks, we had Hispanics, we had whites, and we're all here fighting to make sure that the state of New Jersey and the entire Northeast goes for Donald J. Trump. And I've got to say this, we have to make sure Indian Americans and Pakistani Americans and people of color understand that Donald J. Trump has done more for minorities in this country than any president in modern times. We have the lowest black, Indian, Hispanic unemployment rate. I just don't understand. Trump should have 80% of the support of people in that community.
Well, people from Indian origins, India is a democratic country.
80% support. So, and we have to make sure that people understand, because all they hear is the liberal media says, oh, he doesn't like Indians, he doesn't like blacks. He is not a racist. He is a man who cares about every American, making America great and creating jobs. We have the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years.
As Asian Americans, we are coming forward to really convey the message. That's why we are doing it right now.
Big margin.
He's in India right now.
With the Namaste Trump happening tomorrow, what is the message? President Trump is, visiting India, and there is a lot.
Well, India should try to make India great again, like Donald Trump has made America great again. It's that simple.
So one thing about the trade deal, do you foresee something for India and America, strengthening this time?
I want India to be free market, low taxes, less regulation. India has amazing people. It's been held back for 50 years by their government. And just to move to freedom and free markets would make India one of the superpowers. And we need India to prosper, by the way, because we need India to be, to replace China as our major trading partner.
So
right?
do you foresee something, Mr. Moore, with this recent visit? I know President Trump said that no decisions would be taken right now, but in future, by November, something will come up.
We want a free trade deal with China. I mean, not China, with India. With India. We can't trust China because they cheat and steal. But India should be a natural trading partner with the United States. And we're seeing factories now leaving China and going to India.
That's good for us.
So it's good for the whole world. And so I want a really close relationship between the United States of America and India. But India has to have a government that takes the Trump approach and makes India great again. And puts India first.
So one important
Just like
question.
Donald Trump put America first, you need leadership in India that puts India first, right?
So there is one important question I'll put for you. As far as immigration is concerned, President Trump favors legal immigration.
Yes.
There is a
Has to be
certain
legal.
segment of the society here in America who are high-skilled immigrants from India.
Yes.
They send $100 billion in remittances to India. Why do they send is because they are still waiting for their green cards.
Yes.
If they are permanent residents here,
If they came in legally, I think
they
we
are,
should.
there is a wait time of 100 years.
No,
for such people.
we have to let these people become citizens. I believe if as long as they came in legally, and as long as they have a job and they're productive in the United States, then they should and pay taxes and not on welfare.
Not at
Then
all,
I
they're not.
believe that they should get a green card and we should make them American citizens. Okay,
Then,
thank
sir,
you very much.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you. But the point is about these people. There is a bill waiting to get passed in the Senate. Nothing is
We're
happening.
gonna work on that. We need great minds. We get some of the greatest minds and hardest working people from India here. It's a great asset to the United States. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. This was Mr. Stephen Moore. He's the economic advisor for President Trump's 2020 campaign. Very strong person. He highlighted major points here about, how the Trump government, the administration has succeeded in lowering the employment, bringing in business, trade deals, and many other things. He lucidly explained it on the board there. Of course, we are live right now. You see, we will again reiterate about those points which were highlighted on the screen there, because this is something very, very moving here. Like, people are very, very actively coming back to him and talking to him, because they themselves were not aware about how, on a financial front, on an economic front, President Trump has brought those kind of changes. So this was a very strong and a great message that went through him. Let's see what happens for the 2020 for President Trump.
Namaste, India.
Namaste, India. Namaste, India definitely is happening, and he also gave a great message. Now we have Mr. Dharmesh.
Yes.
Dharmesh ji, please give your introduction first of all.
Yeah, my name is Dharmesh Patel, and I am a Middlesex County Indian Republican Club President. Middlesex County Indian Republican Club President. And everybody knows in India right now, Mr. President is maybe sometime after few hours, his plane is landing in Ahmedabad. This is my state, and I am from Nadiad, and it's maybe 30 miles away from my city, but definitely what my message for our country and our country people in US, Mr. President Trump enjoy his trip with the family. He can eat whatever the Gujarati dish available there. And in New Jersey, we are happy because President Trump in India. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dharmesh ji. Well, Dharmesh ji is very much emphasizing on the Gujarati dish, the dhoklas and other things. But I tell you, he is visiting India. India is amalgamation of varied tastes, north, east, west, south. When President Trump goes there, he's going to enjoy all the tastes. In fact, what say it?
Yes, definitely, President Trump doesn't like some spicy. So, Gujarati also doesn't like spicy, okay? So, let's see, maybe enjoy common. Common is, that no more spicy, very, very good taste. So, definitely, President Trump and the First Lady, whole family enjoy common, dhokla, chai, everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dharmesh ji. That is the excitement, when President Trump is going to India, the Namaste India. The Gujaratis here, their hearts are pouring out, Or they are just here physically. Their bodies are here, but the soul is all wandering here. They're in Ahmedabad, right now. We have another guest here, sir. What's your name and any message?
My name is Vishal Madan, and I think Indian and American relationship is going to a new height in this Republican administration. This is the best we have seen so far. I don't know what else to come here, but this is the best moment we are seeing between India and US relationship.
Mr. Madan, what do you foresee with this President Trump's visit there? India's reputation as a nation, the relationship that we are having, what message does it give to Pakistan?
I think it's very clear to the world. There is no need to say that between India and US, Pakistan is nowhere near there. Even President Trump chose not to go to Pakistan. He's only going to India. That's very significant. If you look at the previous visits from Obama and all, they went to India and then to Pakistan. Now going only to India, that tells you what place India holds in the World Forum and where the Pakistan is. So
well, we are hopeful
that's no-brainer.
No, it's about UN Security Seat, UN Council Security Seat as well. Of course, India is trying. I think we are hopeful there. What is your take on that?
Yeah, those are all diplomatic things. Those things are not discussed in a stadium or anything like that. Those are back channel things.
We understand.
They are done there. But I am particularly happy because I serve as auxiliary police officer in the town of Sayreville. Not a lot of Indians do that here. I do that job here, and I am very proud of that.
I see the excitement amongst all the Indian Americans, all the other people, the American folks here, when they know that the President Trump is visiting India, and the spirit is so good. Looks like the great bond of India and America is going to soar much higher in terms of the bonding that gives great success to both the nations mutually, and they both will gain. What are your thinking about the takeaways for India and America both with this visit?
See, let's be honest, with this visit already it's announced that there's not going to be a trade deal, which will happen not in this trip, but it will happen later on. But what is going to portray is goodwill that the United States has for India. Right. That's what it's going to portray to the whole world, and that is our biggest win. That is our biggest win. So other than that, I know there are like 5 defense contracts that President Trump will be bringing back to the United States, worth around $5 to $7 billion, which is a big thing for America, for American jobs. And for India, the goodwill that we are earning.
It's not just the goodwill. India will become more stronger in terms of the defense when India takes that deal, brings in higher automated defense, things for herself, and that's where India stands more taller.
Job for America and arms, which India needs badly, arms and ammunition for India.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Yes, this was the live here from New Jersey, and we are signing off for the day now, and we'll come back with some more prominent shows, events where we'll cover about this spirit of Indians and Americans together about the common good.
That's a great sign for our Indians and our Asian Americans. And if you look at our state, we have talked on this stage so many things to turn to red state. There are 17 million people. Out of that, 1 million are Asian Americans. Unless we take their highly undecided voters, unless we take them into confidence, we can turn them into our vote bank. We will make sure that this state will be like a red state. So it is better, as part of it, on this great occasion, we Asian American, 1 million people in the New Jersey state, we are forming a cohesive body with one voice, Asian American Republican Coalition. And they're all going to be expanding, and we will be the power of 1 million in New Jersey state. So far, we will show that this is the trump card to make sure that this state becomes like a red state. Yes, we want all your support, and we want to make sure that we will definitely need your cooperation. Thank you very much.
New Jersey is going to be the red state with help of all of us. We are going to make whole new Republican state to make sure that Donald Trump is going to re-elected with 49 states. Thank you all.
Senator Sam Thompson is also a great help to us. Senator Sam, please tell us your views, what we presented to you. Is it really going to make the red state with our efforts?
They are working very hard right now to change the Indian community from blue to red, and they're doing a great job of it. They can make the difference this November.
Thank you, Senator. And Rick, you're here. Please tell us.
New Jersey and India have very close ties. When my family first immigrated here, my grandparents immigrated to Camden County. My father-in-law owns one of the largest Indian food businesses right here in Middlesex County. Without the contributions of our minorities and our legal immigrants that are coming here, we wouldn't have the economic drivers that we do. And if we want to further our state's innovation programs, we have to continue to support the close ties that we have with our communities and the countries of origin. And I'm proud to have Donald Trump as someone who's been endorsed by 10 counties. As I'm running for U.S. Senate, I couldn't be prouder to share the line with Donald Trump. And this initiative that we're working on to make New Jersey red will happen with our communities. It's going to happen starting right here in Middlesex. So let's be Jersey proud together.
That means you also come. Do you know one more thing? There are 48 countries in this thing, in this New Jersey state right now, representation Asian American Republican Coalition. And out of that, we have a person from Sri Lanka also, Anura. Please, proud to represent your country, our Asian American Republican Coalition.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm ready to work 24/7 for Trump 2020.
And we have Jaisal Aminji, is a silent yet very powerful, and he's a well-wisher of our Asian American Republican. Please.
I think he just called me fat. But anyway, these guys have all my support. I know the work they are doing in Middlesex County, and I believe they are working very hard in registering Republicans in the Indian community. And congratulations to these guys.
Thank you. And Preeti Panja, she is the president of our Asian American Chamber of Commerce. Please have a few words.
Well, I'm actually excited about this new initiative that you have. I think it's amazing. Yeah, it is amazing because I feel that, yes, we want to support Trump, but I think it's very important that we also support our local politicians, South Asians, and all Republicans. So we have to start here in the locals before we go out to the nationals. So that's my initiative. Thank you.
I mean, if you look at logically, like, 1.3 million are Republicans, registered voters, and 2.3 are Democrats, and 2.5 are undecided voters. Out of that, 1 million are Asian Americans. Why we are not able to touch them? If you speak to them, their concerns or their language, I'm sure that we can turn all those 1 million to Republican side. And then I'm sure that the dream will come true. Somebody has to take action. Yes, everybody tells, we want this state to be red, but nobody tells how. We are the people, we are going to do it.
That's it.
That's it. And the Jyotsna Sharma, she is a very woman, vibrant force. She has 1 million followers behind. And please, you're also going to be part of Asian American. Please.
Hello everyone. Well, I host some TV shows. Media plays an important role to send the message to the community. And we want to be responsible in sending the right message. Well, the formation of Asian American coalition here, Republican coalition, has a stronger beginning, I must say, when we have this platform where very, very reputed people are here. And one request I would like to place to the people here. Indian Americans, when they come to this country, they think they're coming from a democratic country, and they try to, by default, align themselves with the Democrats here, thinking this is democratic country, so we should align with Democrats. But Indians per se are the people who are conservative by nature. They believe in the institution of family, they believe in God, and they believe in many other things, family values definitely. And this is the principle of Republicans, not Democrats exactly. So the request that I would like to place is to my American friends, when you see any Indian American, try to educate them, have one-on-one conversation. You are the lead catalyst there who can change these words. If you interact with them and tell them, hey, conservative principles are the ones where we speak about family values, we speak about saving the marriage institution, we speak about one God, believe in God I mean to say, these are the things the Indians will align to. I don't know how many of you would have spoken from that perspective. Extra liberalism, extra socialism doesn't go anywhere. Freebies would not go anywhere, and legal immigration. Definitely Indians support that. There are a lot of people who are legal high-skilled immigrants here, and these are the people who add to the American economy, to the socio-economic spectrum of America. So just take a step ahead, talk to your Indian American friends and tell them, we align more than what you think Democrats are doing. Thank you so much.
And we have a Middlesex Indian County Chair, Mr. Dharmesh Patel. Please have a few words on Asian American.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Dharmesh Patel, and I am a Middlesex County Indian Republican Club President. I think all of those who know that President Trump may be in a few minutes landing in India today. Okay? So what we are thinking, India and American relation maybe start from tomorrow new history. But today, what we are thinking, all Asian country, 48 country joining with the president, that's why we start Asian American Republican Coalition. We are one family, and that's why we start from today. Thank you.
We have Narendra Patel, please. Say a few words.
Narendra Patel from Vartalam Swaminaran Mandir, Somerset. We are conservative by culture. By culture, we're born conservative, period. Here we have misunderstanding between democracy and Democrats. And Democrats are misleading the unknown people of Indian origin. What we have to go out and do is let them know what is the difference between them, what they want, what they can do for you, or what they can take from you instead of doing for you. And what Republicans are for you to support you and secure you to live in this country as long as you're legal in this country. Thank you.
We have the last person. Dave, please have a few words.
Hello everyone, my name is Dave Karlekar. The world's oldest democracy, the United States of America, is meeting today the world's largest economy, democracy, which is the India. The richest country in the world, which is the USA, is meeting the fastest growing country in the world, which is India. Two big superpower horses are joining their hands and forces together to fight against terrorism, to talk about cohesive synergy, to talk about entrepreneurship. Indian Americans and Asian populations, by default, they are known for being entrepreneurship, they are known for education. Now this 1 million force would like to join hands with Republican Party, and that's going to create a massive positive impact for Republican Party nationwide, as well as for the Republican Party in New Jersey. So I thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Sam. You've always been a pillar to us. I mean, you keep going and you are a motivational force for us. Yes. Thank you, Sridhar Chilaraji. And thank you, all of you. We need your help. And without you, we cannot do it. So we have to work in a cohesive synergy. It's a great time happening right now. And I thank you all for giving your support to us. Thank you. And God bless America.
One thing, when you speak to the Indians and they say they're Democrats because India is a democracy, remind them, no, it's a republic.
So now you guys can come to know easily, all these 1 billion people, we can turn them into Republicans because their logic is, it's all like myth, it's not the true thing. So what we have to do is we have to tell them, hey, you're in America, you came from a largest democratic country, that doesn't mean that you should support the Democratic Party here. So we have to tell them our family values, our culture and everything is similar to Republican Party. They're here. And look at that history. Every president has ruined this country except Donald J. Trump. With all good things. Who else? Everybody wants that, right? Everybody wants their country to be safe. Everybody wants jobs. Everybody wants good income. Everybody wants to be happy. That's what Donald J. Trump is doing, all these things. We have to support as a true patriotics of this country. If we don't, we are doing something wrong.
Okay. One more thing. It's an election year, 2020 being. Sridharji also owns a television channel called Manna TV. He has quite a few of them. We want to create a positive impact to the best abilities as we can. It's an open invitation. Consider this as our own family of channel. We will be hosting many of these talks, primarily during the elections time throughout the year, wherein we will be calling the Republican Party and having a brainstorming session on how you can make an impact in the state, within the community. So we look forward for your help on that. Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to us, and thank you all for coming on the stage. Thank you.